let's talk about team WAR, and you can look this number up on fangraphs.com. On the position player side, the cumulative total for wins above replacement for all position players for the White Sox was 3.5 WAR. Luis Robert was 5 WAR. If you take Luis Robert off of this team, the cumulative total for the White Sox would have been negative 1.5 WAR, which is demote them to AAA. That's where they belong. That total for the position players ranked 29th in Major League Baseball. Only the Colorado Rockies have a worse group of position players that performed in 2023 than the White Sox. On the pitching front, the pitchers combined to be worth 10.1 WAR. That is 26th in Major League Baseball. And then when you look at the defensive runs saved, the White Sox minus 59 runs. That's second worst in Major League Baseball. And using Fangraphs' defensive metric, they were minus 37.9 runs below league average. That's by far the worst in Major League Baseball. So, Jim, 101 losses is easy to figure out when you have the second worst position player group in baseball, a bottom 5 pitching staff, and the worst defense in Major League Baseball. That's all Chris Getz and his new front office have to fix this offseason. No biggie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very, it should be a very invasive process. Like if you're talking about like trying to perform a procedure on this team, like it's not outpatient surgery. It's very much like you're going to be bedridden for months and months and months. You're going to need a lot of visits. If you get out, you just might be here for a while, and you just might have everybody in here every day poking and prodding and trying to figure out what's wrong, because like it could be a case where like if they're trying to get better by trading, we saw the problem with that with the Jake Berger trade, trading the only players who are worthwhile to another team. And then you might end up losing like one of the few guys on your team that have some upside, have some improvement they're making from month to month over the course of the season. So yeah, that's really tricky what the White Sox are trying to do if they're trying to get better in a hurry. If they're just going to tear it down, that's the easy part. Rick Hahn could do that part. Like so easy, Rick Hahn could do it when it comes to tearing a team down, building it back up and actually forming a team and forming a pipeline and building a culture. And whether the culture is a matter of just having enough players who are good, and that more or less sets the agenda for what the rest of the team does. Like the White Sox don't know because they typically don't have enough guys doing that. So like that's where it's going to be tricky when it comes with when it comes to the White Sox. Just if they're going to get better and they want to do it like relatively quickly. I think there was a Cespedes barbecue tweet talking about like how 3 years ago or 2 years ago, like 3 postseason teams were 100 lost teams. And now they're in the postseason, and trying to figure out like who among the White Sox, Rockies, Athletics, and Royals are going to be the ones that do that. Really tough. And with the White Sox, like I'm not seeing it myself, but maybe like, I think the one thing that where there's maybe some latent upside in what the White Sox can do is if Rick Hahn and Kenny Williams are so bad and so dysfunctional, and they're basically more or less robbing the team or like robbing the ownership in terms of like just taking advantage of Jerry Reinsdorf's loyalty and having no clue how to get better and not really investing any energy in doing so, then perhaps like some of this stuff will correct itself. The problem is that Jerry Reinsdorf is more or less counting on that by not actually interviewing anybody but Chris Getz and not even interviewing him. So the process was bad. I can expect the results to continue to be bad, maybe a little bit better because like it's not the worst, but yeah, that's kind of where we're at. And it's not, there's no light at the end of the tunnel right now. It's still just tunnel. It's just a lot of darkness.